I'm hearing a lot about Gavin Newsom nowadays. I don't think that he's going to run, but he's putting the fear of the Democrats in the Republicans right now because they are worried that Gavin Newsom is actually going to come out of the woodworks and just hand them their ass. So we're going to watch this video with Hannity and Newsom in this interview. So let's check out some Hannity, let's check out some Newsom, and let's see how he did because everybody said that he did really good here. I want to see California own Sean Hannity.
And welcome to Hannity. And tonight we're going to take you inside one of the most liberal executive mansions in America for an exclusive interview with California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, no topic was off the table, no restrictions at all whatsoever. I did promise the governor that I would give him a chance to respond to each question without interruption. So, especially in the beginning of the interview, it is less debate-oriented. It's a little more debate-oriented as the interview goes on. And as you might imagine, well, Governor Newsom and I strongly disagree on pretty much everything. But to the governor's credit, he did sit down for an entire hour. He answered most of our questions. And by the way, that was something that the president of the United States, Joe Biden, is not even remotely capable of doing. So without further ado, here is part one of my interview with California's Democratic Governor, Gavin Newsom. All right, so I write you. This pick got a lot of pickup, I'm sure you saw as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I want to do an interview.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do an interview. I want to make sure the audience understands up front. This is not going to be me. I want you to answer and give your views. I would say you represent probably about half the country, your views, and the other half represents mine. You agree? We're kind of divided.
Plus or minus, certainly divided. Yeah. No question. I mean, we're polarized, we're traumatized. We clearly are in these, and we're in these echo chambers. I mean, let's be candid, Sean. I mean, your folks are watching you and getting a certain perspective, and my folks are watching other networks getting a certain perspective as well.
We have studies that show a lot of Democrats watch me.
Well, including me. So I'm here for a reason. To wit the point, though.
I don't think that says anything bad about Democrats, to be honest with you. I think that just says that Democrats are a little more open-minded.
So I think we need more of that cross-pollination. We need more of these kind of conversations. And we need to not just, accuse each other of misleading the American people, but I think confront each other in the context of providing opportunities to address some of the facts that are often omitted in terms of the conversations and topics we choose to pick up.
So what I see is, I don't know how you reconcile some of these differences. Now, you either believe in secure borders and law and order, and people that want to come into our country have to do it legally. I'm the product of that.
Right.
Or there are people that want open borders. You believe in defund, dismantle, no bail laws like cities like in New York, where the show originates from, or you believe law and order, safety, security is a prerequisite for the pursuit of happiness. You want energy independence, or you don't want any domestic energy production. I mean,
okay, but why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't it be a middle ground? Why can't there be a choice that isn't one extreme or the other?
How do you reconcile?
Well, I don't see those binaries at all. Quite
exactly.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I want border security. Democrats want border security. We also want comprehensive.
But you don't want any walls.
I want comprehensive immigration reform. I want to actually.
Dude, what the fuck is up with these people in walls? Like, why do they have such a fucking hard-on for walls, man? Like, this is some weird. It's like dudes that like feet. I'll just never understand it.
Address the issue more comprehensively, just like Ronald Reagan did in 1989. Just like, and with respect, Sean, you promoted yourself with the Gang of Eight and bipartisan legislation that got 68 votes in the Senate, only to die in the House, that could fundamentally address this issue, which is the issue. So I don't see those.
But I always had as my position, build the wall first. You're against building any wall.
I know. I have no problem with the 650 plus miles we have on border walls. I come from a state with the largest, San Ysidro is the largest land port in the Western Hemisphere. I don't need to be educated on the issue of the border or issues of immigration policy.
Medi-Cal for illegals is $2.7 billion to the state.
And how many billions are we spending for uncompensated care? People end up in the emergency.
Can I ask you?
On the back end, wasting taxpayer money.
Why is it?
Dude, 100%. That is the number one argument when people start talking about illegal immigrants getting Medi-Cal, or anybody getting Medi-Cal for that matter. If you don't provide that, then they just use the emergency services, which actually cost a fuck ton more.
Is it wrong to just demand, if you want to come to this country, obey our laws, respect our borders, respect our sovereignty, apply, come in, and we can expedite the application process?
It's the latter part. Now you're having a conversation. This is where I think the vast majority of America
That's why I'm here.
Well, that's the point.
I'm here to bring us together.
And that was the point of the comprehensive reform.
Dude, Sean Hannity is not here to bring us together, folks. No fucking way is Sean Hannity here to bring us together. Like, this is what I've heard, like, I mean, what you call mostly like established Democrats or like established Republicans, establishment Republicans. It's something like we agree on probably like 80-85% of almost everything that's talked about in the political atmosphere. But when it comes down to the nuances or the individual characteristics of how we think things should be done, that's where we disagree. And what happens is our media tends to amplify it because obviously it's a for-profit media. So instead of like saying, all right, what we really do is we agree on A, B, C, but D is the problem, instead, they say, we don't agree on any of this, or the things that you want to do to solve this problem are so extreme compared to what I want to do. And actually, when you start to talk to people, when you're forced to actually sit down and talk to another person that has what you believe are differing ideals on things, you actually find out that you do agree on like 80% of what they believe and what you believe they believe 80% of as well. And when you say, I'm sitting here to I'm creating the conversation. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's dishonest. Gavin Newsom, hopefully, as a politician, is doing that. But when you're talking about Fox News or CNN, those people are making money off of creating this like dramatic situation and polarizing the nation. Our media obviously is a part of the problem.
Where's Congress? I mean, look, you can criticize Biden all the time, Biden's border crisis. I watch 24/7 surround sound anger machine around that. I get it.
Wait a minute. In 3 years,
I get it.
he will allow over 7.5 million people illegally into this country. Right. You have to see there's something wrong with that.
No, I do. And I see there's something right with what he's done post Title 42, a 70% reduction, taking a lot of the core tenets that the previous administration used. He's now being sued by the left, not just being applauded, certainly by the right. That said, here's what's missing. The conversation you just suggested we should be having around dealing with asylum seekers and backlogs and updating and modernizing our visas and addressing a pathway that Ronald Reagan himself acknowledged.
Let me ask you if you support this.
And I think those things are missing.
Should we?
And how about funding the fucking Border Patrol? How about that? Like, I understand that it's really hard to find people to work the Border Patrol because it's a fucking ridiculously stressful job, and it has something ridiculous as far as suicide rates go, and like it's actually gone up recently. But one of the biggest problems, if you've ever watched, I forgot who it is. I think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene and somebody else. God, I can't remember who the other guy is. They go down the border and they talk to the guy who's in charge of the Border Patrol, and they keep asking him over and over these questions that are in some way implying that the Democrats are doing a bad job. And he pretty much just says over and over again, yes, I do think that a bad job is being done, but I'm not trying to place blame. What I need is more people. What I need is better funding. It's like the poor fucking guy that actually has to do the job is just caught between these fucking politicians that are just tearing him and his people apart. Because they're down there actually trying to do the job. They're down there actually trying to make a difference. Meanwhile, politicians are doing dumb shit, trying to play games to get reelected and to get constituents to become angry with this side or that side. One of the biggest problems is the funding that happens for the Border Patrol.
We have background checks.
Yes.
Should, in the middle of a pandemic, health checks?
We did.
Should we have means testing so the people that enter this country are not going to be a financial burden on the American people?
We prioritize already with certain. We prioritize with STEM. We prioritize with visas already. We prioritize.
You're going to give
as well
a free
as essential
college
workforce.
education and $2.7 billion of taxpayer dollars in California to Medi-Cal.
And
that's for illegal immigrants only.
And we're spending the money already. I know everybody on the right can't stand sanctuary policy. I understand that. Rudy Giuliani, by the way, Trump's old attorney, was a huge proponent of sanctuary policy.
I didn't know that.
Actually said it keeps you healthier, safer, and more educated. Actually made those.
And that's back when Rudy Giuliani was still sane. That was before that shit that was leaking out of his head on that press conference started tainting his brain, man. Like that actually makes sense. He's trying to point out that because you're giving them these Social Security blankets, that they cost us less money than they do if we don't. Okay, so these people are already here. Like, I know the right-wing kind of like point of view is that it's going to be, oh, we're going to get rid of all of these illegal aliens. Like, that's not even a possibility. That's like saying we're going to get rid of all the guns. When people are like, we just need to get rid of all the guns. That's not going to happen. So we have to, like, kind of determine what we're going to do based off of what's actually going on. We can't have these, like, pipe dream fantasies of, like, oh, we'll just remove all the illegal immigrants or we'll stop them all with a wall. None of those actually work. Didn't El Chapo, like, fucking dig tunnels under the wall, first of all? But these guys, they have these pipe dreams of just, like, being, like, zero tolerance. They don't come across the border. We stop them all. That's not going to happen. So you have to have contingency plans. And if the contingency plan is that you provide them with things like Medi-Cal, because if you don't provide them with Medi-Cal, then it costs us even more money. Well, that's just fucking logical.
Those arguments when he was governor, or rather mayor of New York. It's the cards that are dealt in the absence of comprehensive reform. I'm all for comprehensive reform. I'm for background checks. I'm for addressing border security in all its forms and manifestations, not just walls. I'm addressing a legal pathway. I'm actually wanting to address all these issues, but I want to do it in a rational way and not just bastardize the conversation as exclusively about the border.
Okay, I have here my pile of stuff, the exact federal law that prohibits. Now, there are two court decisions that you might be able to cite. One is the Trump lawsuit. That was in the Ninth Circuit. The other is some wording and one opinion that Justice Scalia gave some years back. But it is unambiguous when you read the 18 U.S. Code as it relates to entering the country that you've got to do so legally. By characterizing the state as sanctuary, aren't you thereby violating federal law, the laws that are on the books, and that our own Constitution states very unequivocally that, in fact, you should be following?
These sanctuary policies have been on the books for decades. Cities, Democratic cities, Republican-led cities in the past, Democratic states, clearly, more modern conception around dealing with reality, the cards that are dealt. Right. You want people that are victims of crime to come forward and report those crimes. That's the purpose of sanctuary. You want a kid be educated that's here regardless of how they got here. You want that kid educated. You want to take care of someone that's in an emergency.
Yeah, and that just goes back to, I know what they're thinking. I understand what he's thinking. He's like, well, you just get rid of them. But he's right. If you have a child that's in America, illegally or not, if he's going to be here, you want them to be educated and you want them to work. You want that. You don't want them here hiding and attempting to avoid any type of legitimate path to citizenship. That's the whole point with DACA and all that stuff, the Dreamer Act or whatever, is that you're giving people that may have came here illegally. And Nathan, I hear what you're saying. Many people think all migrants are illegal no matter what. That's kind of like that. I mean, to be honest with you, that's mildly racist on their part. Especially since we're all fucking immigrants. But they want, like, this idea that it's America first, but what they don't understand is, like, it is America first. It's always been America first. It's just that being America first also allows us to help other people. And when we help these other people, it actually ends up creating a stronger, better America than just kind of like building walls all around ourselves and telling people that they can't come in no matter what. They're going to anyways. And if you make them hide, then they'll hide. But if you provide them paths to legitimacy, then they're going to try to take those paths to legitimacy because they want their children to grow up here. They want a better way of life. They come from places that are absolutely fucked. They don't want to go back. So we should be providing them with a way to stay here and be productive. We should be taking advantage of it. And I'm not talking about the way that the farmers from Southern California, which I'm actually from Southern California, Nathan, the farmers from Southern California take advantage of these farmers. Using illegal labor and like demeaning human beings is not a righteous path to creating a better America.
And not have them concerned that they're going to be deported by a nurse. The point is, you deal with reality. But look, I stipulate, I'm happy to get rid of those protections, by doing the hard work of actually coming together as a nation across our differences and support comprehensive reform and modernize our asylum system and modernize our immigration system. This issue will only get worse. It's not just a border issue, is the point.
7.5 million people under Joe Biden will illegally enter this country in 3 years of his presidency. To me, that's unconscionable. That's unfair to the American people. That's unfair to the states, including your state. That's unfair to border states like Texas. But here's where I want to just pause a second and ask you a really serious question. I don't think Joe Biden is mentally, physically capable of being the president of the
I mean, I got to give it to him. He lasted 8 minutes before he started saying that Joe Biden had dementia. That's pretty good for a Fox News host.
United States. Hang on. I suspect if I took your phone and I took a look at it, not that I believe in privacy, I would never do that. I would bet on a daily basis that there are people urging you to run for president and primary him. Am I wrong in my assumption?
Well, my phone's been lighting up how well he did with the UK Prime Minister. My phone lit up and how he
That's a nice duck.
McCarthy on the debt ceiling.
Your phone light up?
My phone lights up with Republican friends saying, you know what? Despite all of the rhetoric, these bipartisan bills he keeps passing on infrastructure and the CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan work he did on gun legislation reform and around the debt ceiling, make me feel maybe he's done a little bit better job than some.
But that wasn't my question. Does your phone light up with, Gavin, you need to get in this primary? He's not able to run. He's not up to the job.
See, but that's just, you're just trying. This is like watching Jerry Springer or Maury Povich. It's like, he's just like, if I could just get you to say that you would run against Biden so that way I could create a clip so I could create drama. Like, it's like when you watch an interview like this and then like a day or two later they put out their shorts, their clips, and it's like Newsom gets owned by Hannity and clip and shit like that. That's all they're looking to create here. They're just looking to create more polarization. He's literally saying, that's not what I'm here for. And that's what fucking politicians should be doing. We should be backing the president. We should be going out and saying things like, if he's going over and fucking, creating bipartisan bills, then that's what he's supposed to be doing. We kind of gotten away from this whole idea that we reach across the aisle and like actually do things that are good for all Americans, not just one side or the other. And like I said, when you agree on 80 to 85% of all actual political issues, but the 15% is the nuance, that's what our politicians should be doing. They should be saying things like, I'm proud of him for doing this, I'm proud of him for doing that, and I'm proud of him for doing this. Like I said before, there are things that are in Trump's policies that I can quote, such as the right to try, the lessening of mandatory minimum sentencing, that whether or not he did it for his own reasons, he did do, and I do applaud. But when it comes to somebody like this guy pulling Gavin Newsom on the show, all he's trying to really do is create polarization. All he's trying to do is create an issue in the Democratic Party. And is that really good for America? Because I don't think it is.
Look, everybody has their quiet chatter, and everybody's out there rooting for America. I'm rooting for our president, and I have great confidence in his leadership.
I don't want him to fail.
He's been able to accomplish.
I think his policies.
I don't know that he doesn't want him to fail. Because it's one thing to say you don't want him to fail, and it's another thing to perform the actions that show that you do, right? Like I always say, like when you tell a person you're sorry, that doesn't mean shit. It's what you do afterwards. Like you can tell your spouse, like, I'm sorry I cheated on you. I shouldn't have done that. But if you cheat on him again afterwards, you're not really fucking sorry, right?
Are failing.
CHIPS Act, Science Act, you oppose that?
Yeah.
I will tell you on every measure from the economy, inflation, borders, energy, national security, he's missing in action.
Let's talk about them in order.
Hang on.
Wait, but I want to challenge the premise. You said the economy, 13.1 million jobs he's created. More.
These are post-COVID jobs. Okay. You know that. That's an artificial number.
No. Then let me stipulate this as an opportunity to engage civilly on this.
Okay.
Fair point. Your president, Donald Trump, lost 2.6 million jobs during his 4 years. We've created 13.1 million. Fine, you can maintain a COVID frame. How about the fact that Joe Biden's created more jobs, 6 times more jobs, than the previous 3 Republican presidents combined?
Are you going to tell me
Sean,
that the average family, where we have 2/3 of Americans now living paycheck to paycheck,
it was 70% under Trump? That was
That's not
70%.
true.
It was 70% under Donald Trump.
Pre-COVID, we had the lowest unemployment rate for every demographic.
But that doesn't equate. It doesn't matter that we had the lowest. He's literally saying that people aren't making enough money. Like, that doesn't equate that just because we had the lowest amount of unemployment that people weren't living paycheck to paycheck. Anybody that lives below the fucking, like, middle class line knows that even middle class people, shit, everybody's living paycheck to paycheck because of the cost of goods. So saying that fucking, yeah, well, the unemployment rate was low, so that doesn't mean, no, that's not true. That doesn't actually equate.
Now, we have the lowest black unemployment in history, and you and I are living with the lowest unemployment in our lifetime, Sean.
We had it for every demographic, and the economy was
black unemployment's record low under Joe Biden.
Okay. We had historic low after historic low under Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. I mean, but he's cleaned Trump's clock, Biden, in terms of the progress in job creation. Look at what he's done on jobs.
What would you grade Joe Biden's presidency? Because you're at odds with the American people and the Democratic Party.
I'm just dealing with the facts. I'm dealing with the facts.
What is your grade for
I'm going to go back. Let's talk. You brought up 6 topics.
You got to answer some questions.
I'm answering the ones in order.
Yeah, this is called a gish gallop. He's just going to keep throwing shit at him over and over again. And what Gavin Newsom needs to do here, and what he is doing here, is he's doing a good fucking job of circling back to the original questions and saying, I'm going to answer them one at a time. I'm not going to allow you to keep throwing shit at me, keep spitting hyperbole, saying like, oh, wait, hold on, now answer this question. No, go back and answer the first questions and give him a chance to do so. If you're having an honest conversation, then you should allow him the time to answer the questions.
You brought up the economy. On the economy, let's talk about the economy.
You want to give him an A?
Inflation, stubborn around the globe. Let's talk about inflation. It's down 40% since last summer, 10 months in a row, 4.9%. He was just with the UK Prime Minister at 6.9%. Is that because of Biden's
I think
Fed
Biden's
policy?
Economic and energy policies
directly impacted the UK's inflation?
No, I am
Or the fact that France is 5.5% or Germany's at 6.1%?
On
inflation, we're moving in the right direction. On the issue of the border security,
we inherited 1.4% inflation. It went up to 40-year high after 40-year high.
Globally. Because you just brought up,
so
you were making an excuse for Trump's dismal.
Yeah, COVID. Remember COVID? Remember when you just used that excuse?
Jobs record related to COVID.
It wasn't a
but you won't acknowledge COVID's relationship to inflation globally.
Damn,
and by
son.
the way,
What's up, Stephen?
Let me stop
immigration
you for a second.
impacting our inflation.
Let me stop you. All right, so I would assume
Dude, he's having a good time. This is like, you know that the fucking guy is giving it to him hard when he starts laughing and smiling. That's like, dude, you are getting wrecked, sir.
You're going to give Biden an A. Here's the problem that Joe Biden has.
Like, he doesn't even want him to answer his questions. He asked him questions, and he's getting his ass handed to him so fucking hard that he doesn't even want him to answer his questions. He's like, let it go. Let's just move on to a new subject.
You're arguing, you're fighting, you're battling, you're articulate. We could sit here for 3 hours,
shit.
probably have a beer. Or
I believe that's called glazing. I believe he's glazing Newsom right now.
Two in the middle of this, and you can keep going. Here's the problem. Your president can't have this conversation. He's not capable of it. Now my question.
Got to go back to the cognitive issues. That's every single time. That's the only thing they have. Only thing they have is he's old and he's got dementia. And none of that shit's even proven. I mean, I'm one of the people that on the left, I'm independent, but I lean left. I'm one of the people that make fun of Joe Biden. I make fun of Joe Biden for his cognitive abilities. I don't want an 84-year-old president. I would love to see somebody Gavin Newsom's age in there. But I do believe that we all, whether it's in humor or not, do exaggerate his cognitive collapse. Because he hasn't fallen that far. He's still obviously making decisions. He's still obviously speaking. I hear people make fun of him for, like, misspeaking and shit. I misspeak all the fucking time, and I'm 43. I can't find words sometimes, and I'm 43. All right? Maybe I have dementia too. Maybe it's just, 2 peas in a pod, whatever it is. But we definitely over-exaggerate what's going on with Joe Biden. I do too, because I think it's funny. I make jokes about it, but not everybody's making jokes. Some people clearly believe that shit because they've seen clips.
Question is a serious one.
All right.
Okay. Is Joe Biden up to the job of being president? And as a little reminder, take a look at your president in the monitor.
And there's an awful lot of
Hold on, we've got clips.
stories that are told, probably a bunch apocryphal about the former prime minister liking to take baths up that. Anyway.
Wandering around at 3 in the morning. Yeah, Winston Churchill.
By the way, I met with.
Okay, so here's my problem with that. Once again, do I think that he is on par with anybody else communications-wise? No, I don't, okay? Do I think that an 84-year-old man is who I want in presidents? No, I don't. I also don't want an 80-year-old, so fuck off Trump, okay? Like, but what he's doing right there, you're gonna judge that as being like some kind of crazy dementia-ridden like rant? Like, no, that's the kind of dumb shit like I've seen like old people do a million fucking times. And like I said, I've also struggled with finding words before. I've been telling stories. I talk on stream for hours. I guarantee you could pull clips of me having times where I can't fucking think of the word.
Who are those guys that fly over shortly? You heard of them, haven't you? And the cheer.
What? Oh, come on. That's a fucking joke. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Are you saying that you can't remember the Air Force, can't remember the pilots? No, that was a fucking joke. You see, this is why it's dishonest. This shit is 100% dishonest.
We cheer for Muslim athletes like Kareem
Dude, you say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all right? Once again, fuck you guys. Like, I just came from that Bill Burr show where he was like, anybody else does this shit? Like, if you saw somebody, if this was your son, your grandfather, your father, and he was up there talking, and he started stuttering and stumbling or couldn't remember a word, you'd be like, oh my God, I feel so bad for him. But if it's Joe Biden, you're like, die in a fire.
Abdul-Jabbar. I know him, and I did mispronounce his name. So,
what the
I'm trying to think.
Like, they're self-owning here. Did they think this was, like, a good idea? This is why Tucker got fired. These people are shit at their job. Hey, what's up, James? Yeah, I want a president who gets things done, too. I want a fucking president that gets shit done. That's what I want.
Where was the last place I was? It's hard to keep track. I mean, yeah, you're right, Ireland. That's where it was. EIGH%. He said, you're too much like that guy who led the revolution instead of the guy who was the prime minister. He said, you got to be less like the military guy. They shot him. God bless you all.
Yeah. What do you want me to say? Just earlier today, I sell wine. It's part of my job, right? And somebody was they had a bottle of wine, and I go, yeah, that bottle of wine. That's actually the first organic wine that was made. I believe so. Hopefully. Also, it's made by this guy. His name is Tony. Fuck, I can't remember his name. Now, I've met this guy multiple times. I know who this guy is. He's a friend of the owners of the business I work for. I couldn't remember his name. So what? I have dementia? No, I'm 43 years old.
Let's go lick
DJ?
the world. Let's get it done.
And then you got Joe Biden who's having a hard time standing up. Take a look at that one.
Oh my God, once again. My wife took a spill when she was like 19. She have dementia? Is she too old at 19? Like people, like, yeah, he's old. You fucking kidding me? You mad that the man tripped? Jesus Christ, they just got mad at him that he patted King Charles on the back. These are the same fucking people, and I'll give them to this. If that was Donald Trump that patted King Charles on the back, yes, the left would 100% be like, he doesn't understand, that's so bad etiquette, that's rude, like you couldn't do that. Yeah, I get it. It's either side's going to polarize these stupid fucking instances. But a person doing things like this, like I'm happy he patted Charles on the back. It shows fucking confidence. In fact, we should be really proud that our president doesn't look at a king and go, I'm beneath you. No. Instead, he's like, you're my buddy. You're my pal. Pat on the back. That's right. We're fucking equals. And we actually kind of kicked your guys' ass probably, a couple 100 years ago. So don't forget about that. But this, like, let's fucking play clips of Joe Biden falling down. That's proof that he shouldn't be president. Then no one should be fucking president because everybody falls down.
I want you to tell me that you think he is
Bucket?
cognitively strong enough to lead this country against China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and a new axis of evil, and that he's the guy.
Give it to him,
He cannot
Gavin.
articulate the economy the way you just did.
Yeah, but I don't think he's capable. I know he's capable. I see results. I've seen a masterclass in results the last few years. You don't see the results on the CHIPS Act. You don't see the results on the infrastructure. You had Infrastructure Week every week for 40 years.
We're still importing them all from Taiwan, which is about to be taken over by China.
We had $4 billion proof point just here in California with Applied Materials bringing semiconductor investment back here in the state of California. My point being,
we're going to talk about
real results, but bipartisan results, real results. Jobs programs. The IRA, I know you don't like it. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars in green energy investment, mostly in red states. You're the biggest beneficiary of the IRA.
He raised taxes on oil, gas, coal, pensions, and, quote, taxes corporations. Corporations don't pay taxes. They pass the cost on to consumers.
That's really funny because that guy works for a corporation.
That's all they do. You know that.
On the issue of energy independence, I think it was your second of the list of items.
Do you think he's cognitively strong enough to be president?
I've had conversations
one
with
at
him
a
all
time,
the time,
bro.
yes. And I'll tell you what.
You do.
I'm dead serious about that. I've talked to him when he's been overseas. I've been in Air Force One, Marine One. I've been in the limo with him. I've spent time with him privately.
Okay, but you never answered my question directly. How many times does your phone ping a day, people saying you need to get in this race because they agree with me that he's not up to the job?
That's a stupid fucking question. At the least, rephrase it. At the least, just ask the dude. Just say, hey, what do you think? Do you think that you should run because it's best for America? Just say it that way. Ask him the real fucking question. Why does it have to be such a fucking high school ass question?
Job.
Jose, I see where
question.
I see where you're going with that.
I'm asking.
No, and I'm not answering.
Under any circumstances would you get in this primary?
No.
None.
I really am proud. I think he's a man of
it.
decency and character. I'm really proud of the president. I'm proud of what he's accomplished.
Is he strong enough to be president? That's
strong enough. Look what he just did to McCarthy. He ran Look at the vote card.
Shit.
I didn't like the vote. I wouldn't have voted for it.
Exactly. Kevin got played by the President of the United States. I'm for results. I'm for results.
I think the American people benefit. I like the...
Dude, he just got wrecked. Oh, man. He just disrespected your boy to your face. Holy shit.
plan that would have saved $4.8 trillion. All right. Now, so we're at a point, I think you are far more articulate, far more versed, far more energetic. I have this theory that people are going to come calling because I don't think in your party they think he's the guy. No. Just my thought. Now I've got a bunch.
What do you have?
Well, he's about to pull out his cell phone. It's like, so anyways, that whole thing about privacy, we actually did get a hold of your cell phone text messages.
Look, I don't want to make this an argument. I want you to explain.
Dude, if he pulls out tweets right here, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. What is it with our media and tweets, dude? Our media loves tweets. It's like the most garbage-ass reporting. Please don't pull out tweets.
Because my argument to you is conservative policies work. Okay. You know, I don't care if it's Ronald Reagan. I don't care if it's Newt Gingrich's contract. I don't care if it's Donald Trump's 4 years as president. Got it. I believe his policies work. Peace through strength work, building up our military, building a wall, enforcing law and order, energy independence, which Biden gave up, which he didn't bring up.
Which I'm happy to do.
Yeah, he was literally about to fucking answer that. Like, this douchebag asked him a series of questions. Gavin Newsom's doing a wonderful fucking job. Like, this is a debate tactic that he's fucking doing here. This is amazing. He's actually doing a great job. He's circling back to the questions and saying, nope, I'm not going to give you the chance to say I didn't answer these questions. I'm going to answer them, and I'm going to answer them consecutively as you asked me. Now, one thing, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty fucking sure I'm right, hasn't every Republican president for fucking, like, since the beginning of time increased the debt ceiling? Isn't that one of the things that they claim that they're always going to not do? So when you say things like conservative policies work, isn't that kind of bullshit when you say we're not going to increase the debt ceiling or we're going to stop government spending because we're against big government, and then every fucking one of your presidents increase the debt ceiling? I don't know. I don't know. It just seems not logical to me.
Let me show you a list of corporate headquarters that are leaving your state in well,
No, let's bring it on.
Go
I
for
look
it.
forward to
Look
having
at
this
him.
conversation.
There you go.
I'm well aware.
Corporate headquarters, they're leaving. Look at San Francisco in particular. They're closing down because they can't keep their product in the store because they're getting robbed. I got another one for you. Seasonally adjusted business applications. You always bring up Florida.
Yeah.
I compared you to Florida. I think you have a higher population, if I'm not mistaken.
Dude, I was just reading about Florida today. Florida is fucked. Florida has so much shit wrong with it right now. Are you kidding me? The State Farm pulled out of California, right? State Farm just pulled everything out of Florida. State Farm pulled home insurance out of California. State Farm pulled umbrella, car, and home out of Florida. Florida's a bad fucking comparison. Their economy is really good right now, as it should be, considering you have like the fucking wealthiest people you possibly can have living all throughout Florida. But Florida's not doing real good right now.
Significantly higher population.
Why are they doing better in business formulation?
We'll have to take a look at that in more
You
detail.
take a look.
I'm happy that we're looking forward. How many more of these you have? Let's go.
About 8.
Bring them on.
Bring them all on?
Bring them all on. Let's have this conversation.
Okay, let me ask you. This is a tough question for you.
I don't think it will be. Well, let's find out.
All right. So you're the first governor in history that has...
Yeah, sorry, Steven. I should clarify. I should 100% clarify on that. State Farm did not cancel, but you know why they didn't cancel anybody's insurance, right? Like, they can't. You're not allowed to do that. You have to give, I think it's something like 120 days to the person before you can cancel their insurance. So whether or not people like myself will lose their fire insurance here in California, and whether or not the people in Florida will lose their insurance is all a matter of time, right? And anyways, like, yeah, State Farm does want to make some money off of California. They do want to make some money off of Florida, but they're hedging their bets because the amount of climate change-induced natural disasters in Florida has gone so far through the fucking roof that it just doesn't make sense for them to be a part of Florida anymore. But you are 100% correct, Stephen. Thank you for correcting me. You are right. They are not writing any new policies.
Has had a net migration out of the Golden State. Go west, young man.
Yep.
I lived here by the way, I lived here 5 years.
Horace Greeley.
I was the poorest guy in Santa Barbara at the time, in the early 80s. If you look at, I want you to really look at this and explain for the years 2021 and 2022 why Florida...
So this is something I'm interested in because these are big facts for me. I want to see how Gavin Newsom comes up against this because, and I wish this motherfucker would give him a chance to answer the questions. I'd love to see him actually get to answer these questions because it feels like he's kind of just loading this and just like not letting him answer on these issues. And these are things that I actually do care about. So I'd love to hear Gavin Newsom answer these questions. Let's see if he gives us a chance to hear it.
Florida is taking in nearly 1,000 people a day, and you're losing 800 people a day.
Right.
They're leaving. Tell me why they're leaving your state.
So we'll stop at 3, or you want to do the whole?
No. We'll just answer one at a time.
18 states had declines in population. California's was 0.3%. You didn't bring up any of the red states that had decline in populations. It's an interesting fact, and I don't see it on here. An interesting omitted fact.
What's that?
Per capita, more Floridians moved to California than California's moving to Florida. That, I don't imagine, is on one of your 8 slides. Let me take another stab at this. In 2021, California had 7.8% of GDP growth in this country, one of the fastest growing economies anywhere on planet Earth. This state continues to be the tentpole of the American economy. 25.6% of all American jobs came from this state in April. In the last 2 fiscal years, we enjoyed $177.7 billion in operating surpluses. We're on our way to be the 4th largest economy, eat your heart out, Germany, in the world. Number 1 in R&D, venture capital, more scientists, researchers, more Nobel laureates, more patents emanating out of this state than any other state in America. With all due respect, Florida doesn't even come close. Eat your heart out, Texas. California continues to be the dominant economic.
Dude, and I love the pride, motherfucker. I love the pride, okay? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. Because let me tell you this, as a native Californian, as a man, hi Tamara, as a man that's lived in the state of California his entire life, in some of the worst parts of California that you can live in. I've lived in San Bernardino. I've lived in El Centro. I lived in what's known as Slab City. Nathan, you might know about Slab City down there. I've lived in Trolley, El Centro. I've lived in Yuba City. I've lived in Bakersfield. I've lived in like the shittiest parts of California, and I can tell you this right fucking now. I love California. I love everything that California stands for, and I love watching all the shit that happens in California that people cry about and bitch about and complain about just ripple across the fucking United States because they're all so far fucking behind. So I love to see the pride. That's you know what? I think I like Gavin Newsom more now than I did fucking before I watched this, and I didn't dislike him then. I'm fucking loving this.
Engine for the American
I promised you before this interview I would let you give full answers. That's a full answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to challenge it.
Good.
And the challenge is this is the first time in the history of the state that you've lost population.
Yes.
The first time.
Correct.
Now, I'm going to give you another sheet.
Wait, how is that an own? Okay. That's like saying fucking the Eagles went 15 wins and then they lost. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to happen. Stocks don't just go up, right? Like it's fucking like there's downs. Everybody has a downturn. That's the first time. Is it something that should be seen? Is it something that should be looked at? Is it something that you should think about why it happened? 100% is why. But telling somebody that they were successful 99% of the time and then they failed 1% of the time, so, oh, you guys are kind of shit now. That's not how things work, Sean.
Here. And this is about income tax.
Right.
Your state income tax is 13.3% at the highest number. I also did more digging. The top 1% of Californians pay 50% of that total income tax bill.
Yeah.
Nearly half.
Roughly. Yeah.
That's redistribution of wealth, isn't it?
Well, it's progressive tax
All right.
policy.
Now, look at your...
Yeah, that's because we have a fuck ton of social safety nets. My child has an IEP, and I'm so fucking happy he does. Because without the programs that the state of California has provided for me and my child, we would be dealing with so much shit right now. But because of the state of California, because of the taxes that I pay, I have social safety nets that allow my child to have an IEP, which, by the way, I think every fucking kid should have. Every kid should have an individual educational plan. Every kid should be given the kind of one-on-one teaching that my kid gets. Because I'll tell you this, if we had more teachers that are fucking taken better care of, if we had more teachers that were invested in our children, we would have a better economy. So when you say, oh, the top 1% pays 50%, yeah, that's the fucking point. Yeah, that's how we roll in California.
Yours 13.3. What is Florida? What does that say? It says 0.
Well, it's factually untrue. It's not 0. They
have 0 state income
top
tax.
The top 1% pay. Look, here you're promoting. Sean,
is that a lie?
No. Here's what you're promoting. You're promoting regressive tax policy. We don't believe in regressive tax policy. You're promoting one component of entire tax system, the 1%. With all due respect, you and I may pay the 1%. The vast majority of people watching don't. You pay more taxes in states like Texas for the middle class than you do in states like California.
Right now,
hold on, no. This is we have too many. The American people don't know that.
He don't like to hear that. Oh, dude. Gavin Newsom. I wish I would have watched this 4 weeks ago. I could have been having a better month. Gavin Newsom came prepared. This dude is wrecking his asshole.
We have the highest tax rate for the 1%, but middle-class families actually pay less than the majority of states in America, in California. The question is, who are you for? So who are you fighting for?
I am for...
He's for him, bro. And that's the problem with America. This dude's the problem with America. It's me, me, me. It's all selfish bullshit. The reason I love California is because, yeah, they do try to take care of the homeless. Because, yeah, they do look at people that have drug problems and say, hey, what if we rehabilitated them? What if we gave them a second chance at life? Because you know what? If people didn't give people a second chance in California, I wouldn't fucking be here. If it wasn't for food stamps, if it wasn't for welfare, if it wasn't for programs to take care of people that had mental illness, and for when I went to school, if there wasn't counselors to help me, I wouldn't be here today. If it wasn't for all the shit that Californians pay in taxes, I would probably be a fucking criminal.
I'm just wondering, because I have homes in Florida.
Yeah.
And
you pay a lot of property tax there. Double what you pay in California. I would think twice about that.
Except if you add the millionaire property tax that you've just put in L.A. County.
Well, that's a transfer tax, and we didn't do that. That was done locally.
Transfer tax is like $500,000.
I don't know if you can even get house insurance down in Florida.
So you're telling me the loss of net population.
18 states, we were number 10.3%.
And this number here, 13.3%. Now, every Californian
Which we've had for a decade.
Okay.
For a decade.
Right, and you supported it for a decade.
The public actually initiated it. It was supported by the public.
But the point is, Florida has 0. The net
he's like, yeah, you dumb fucker, they voted for it. That's the difference. This is what people that are outside of California, when they shit on California, don't understand. Like, yeah, good luck paying all those taxes. Yeah, guess who voted on them? We did, because we give a shit about people. Because we actually care. Because, like I said, everything that happens in California ripples across the United States of America. Because people see it, and they see that it works. And I'm not talking about population. I'm not talking about constituents. I'm talking about politicians. Politicians see that it works, and then they follow suit. Because they know if they want to run their fucking state correctly, they might want to, I don't know, follow the business model of like the 5th largest economy in the world. I hope we're still 5th. We might be 6th now.
Population growth, hang on, per Florida is almost
1%.
Is almost 1,000 new people a day, and you're losing 800 people a day. Wait, here's my question: is this connected to that?
No, I respect your audience too much to let them be misled on this. Your audience doesn't live in that rarefied. No.
This is a lie?
You're manipulating some fundamental facts. You're omitting the fact that the vast majority of people do not live in the 1%. You're talking about the 1% tax.
1% pays half of it.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm talking about the American people don't live there. And the reality is when they live in Texas versus California, middle class pay more than they do in the state of California.
Texas is higher tax than Florida, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain. Like, he's literally telling you that you're wrong. He's saying, no, people in Texas pay more than middle-class Americans, middle-class Californians. So answer that fucking question. Tell him he's wrong. Tell him where he's wrong. I want to hear.
But your beef seems to be with Ron DeSantis.
No, well, man, we could talk about Abbott for
the kidnapper. We'll get into that in a little bit.
But, you know, here's my point. Yeah. We've had a progressive tax, but I didn't establish the 13.
Okay, he is kind of a fucking kidnapper. You can't take illegal immigrants and stick them on a plane and then send them to another state. That is kind of kidnapping. I mean, legal definitions aside, okay? I don't know that Ron DeSantis put bags over people's heads, fucking threw zip ties around their hands and threw them in there. But when you're taking advantage of illegal immigrants who don't know what the fuck is going on and you're putting them on planes and sending them to California, that's kind of fucked up, don't you think? I'm not talking about to California. I'm talking about to the immigrants. Like, that's kind of fucked up. But, of course, they'll be better taken care of here in California anyway, so fuck it, let's go.
0.3% that was done before I even got here. I've opposed new increases in the top 1% tax. I opposed a statewide wealth tax. I've never been a profligate Democrat. I balance budgets. We make the hard choices. I'm a business guy starting 21
You have a deficit of $32 million.
Literally just happened. This is what is driving me nuts with Republicans right now, is they keep saying California is a state in debt. Like, we literally had a surplus until COVID. And you know why we don't have a surplus anymore? Because we took care of our people. Because we used that money to help Californians. Imagine that. Imagine that.
$1 billion this year.
This state, we dominate in venture capital, innovation. We have the finest system of public higher education anywhere on planet Earth. We convey more talent than any place on the planet. This state, I mean, R&D, what did Tesla just do? They moved back into the state of California. Disney's moving their jobs back from Florida in the state of California. You didn't acknowledge per capita more Floridians coming back to California than Californians going to Florida. This was anomalous. 18 states saw a decline. I love this state. Don't count us out. I've been hearing this bashing all my life.
I am not, but I have a list of all the state headquarters, and I'll scroll them on our screen. Good. And you could take a look at them. These are all the corporations that have left your state.
And we're creating
corporate headquarters.
Check it out. He's
one
like,
after another.
I got a scrolling text
So
here.
what I'm pointing out is,
how many jobs are we creating? How many unicorn companies? How many IPOs? 3 times Florida, twice the number of Texas.
Yeah. Anybody that knows sports knows this. Anybody that knows sports knows this. Big fucking names leave all the time. It ain't about the big names. It's about what you're growing in the farm system, motherfuckers, all right? So big names are always going to go somewhere else. They're always going to go where they can make more money. They're always going to go where they can get the most benefits. But guess what? If you keep growing shit in the farm system, they can go wherever the fuck they want because you're still going to be a winning team. And California is a winning team.
Don't admit all of the facts.
Okay, but
That's all I'm asking.
okay, I'm
Okay,
asking you
he
not to
says
admit all the
okay.
facts. So we have all these corporations. Let me give you a list here. Here's the whole list: Tesla, Apple, Nestle,
Tesla just
Oracle.
moved their
We're
world
already
headquarters
seeing
from
all
R&D
this.
back
Their
here.
business headquarters out of your state.
Yeah, and how many jobs they
Here's
created
the
in
whole
state.
list. I gave you.
And how many
here's a
jobs
copy.
left with them? How many
Would you
jobs?
like to keep it?
No, but you need to know. None. It was insignificant, inconsequential. We create more companies every single day, more billionaires.
I'm scrolling these
no
companies.
State, no, 1/2 of America's $1 billion valued companies are in the state of California. This state economy has outperformed the nation, 3.1% in the last decade, 2.1% nationwide. I've been hearing this nonsense for half a century,
Dude.
literally half a century.
But they've
People
only
counting
left
us
in
out.
recent years.
We've created. How many have we created? How many new IPOs? How many new opportunities? How many jobs were taken out of the state of California when Tesla moved its headquarters? You don't know that because it was insignificant.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey,
Dude, Sean Hannity should have never made that phone call. Sean Hannity should have kept his fucking phone in his pocket because he just got his asshole torn open. That is amazing. Jesus Christ. Thanks a lot for watching my video. If you liked it, hit that like and subscribe. If you'd like to join the Ginger Army and help support me for only $3 a month, you get to support a soulless ginger. You also get access to the Tantrum Trump and Prison Trump emojis. And don't forget to join me every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific for a live stream with yours truly. Thanks a lot, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. Stay safe out there.